Before we begin, I invite you to gently close your ears and focus on what remains when all external sounds fade away. It's like sitting in a quiet room, and after a while, you notice a subtle ringing or hum beneath the silence. If you listen closely, you'll start to experience this soft, constant presence, something that feels like the very fabric of reality itself. In quantum physics, it's said that everything is connected at the most fundamental level, and that everything we see is just a manifestation of deeper, unseen energy. What you are hearing, or rather feeling, is that same energy, that same field of potential. This subtle ringing is what we call the sound of silence. It's not just an abstract concept or some external force. It's the very essence of you. Everything we discuss in this session and the ones to come will be about this sound of silence. It is not something separate or different from you. It is you. This exploration is about realizing that the sound of silence is your own inner being, your most fundamental nature, the stillness from which all life arises. You are that, the very presence behind everything. Before we begin this exploration, it's important to approach it with an open mind, without any preconceived notions. You may think you already know enough about this or that it doesn't apply to you, but these are barriers to truly listening. When you listen fully, without distraction, you will be able to see what I see and judge if it's true for you. The key is to listen with the intention of understanding, not to confirm what you already believe. As we proceed, you'll see that the problems we are addressing are not superficial, but fundamental. These are the problems every human faces, no matter their background or status. These issues include feelings of lack, incompleteness, loneliness, and fear of death. The resolution to these problems lies in self-inquiry. This isn't about following a path laid out by someone else or practicing specific techniques for temporary peace of mind. It's about understanding the reality of who you are. The idea that you need to control your desires or emotions and reach some distant point of enlightenment is based on misunderstanding. These are methods people have relied on for centuries, thinking that if they can just control their internal world, they will find peace. But peace isn't found in chasing or controlling. It's found in seeing the truth that you already are complete. The feeling of restlessness, of needing to get somewhere or achieve something, is the core issue. This restlessness makes the mind constantly jump from one thought to another, chasing happiness in different forms. But the chase never ends. You achieve one thing and for a brief moment the restlessness quiets down, only for it to return, pushing you toward the next goal. The entire world seems to be caught in this cycle, everyone moving in different directions, each convinced their path will lead to fulfillment. Yet when they reach their destination, they often find nothing of real substance and the cycle begins again. The solution to this isn't found in moving towards some external goal, but in staying where you are, in realizing you don't need to go anywhere to be whole. The problem arises when you think you need to do something or be something more than you already are. You might believe that enlightenment is a state you have to reach. But the idea of enlightenment itself is often based on preconceived notions of what it should look like. Everyone has a different idea of what enlightenment is, and chasing it only perpetuates the restlessness you're trying to escape. True peace comes not from achieving something external or reaching a particular state, but from deeply understanding that you are already complete. When you stop running toward an imagined goal and see that you are already where you need to be, the mind's restlessness dissolves. This isn't about entering a state of deep concentration or sleep, because those are temporary. You wake up or break concentration, and the problem returns. The real solution must address the mind's state when you are fully awake and engaged with life. Restlessness comes from the belief that you need to do something or go somewhere, and this belief creates the endless cycle of action and reaction. You think that by acting in a certain way, you will achieve peace or happiness, but this peace is short-lived because new desires arise and the cycle starts over. Every time you think you've reached a point of satisfaction, the mind quickly moves on to the next thing it wants. The root of all this is the failure to question why we are chasing anything at all. Why do we feel the need to be somewhere other than where we are? Why do we keep moving toward external goals, convinced they will bring us the peace we seek? The truth is, you don't need to go anywhere or do anything to find peace. The idea that you must attain something, whether it's enlightenment or material success, is based on a misunderstanding of who you are. The constant motion of the mind, this need to achieve or do something, is driven by the belief that you are incomplete. When you realize that you are already complete, the restlessness vanishes. You might think that certain actions or thoughts are necessary for survival or success, and yes, physical actions are necessary to function in the world. But this isn't about abandoning action, it's about understanding the nature of action and why you are driven to act in the first place. When you act out of restlessness, your actions are rooted in the belief that something is missing. But when you see that nothing is missing, your actions take on a different quality. They are no longer driven by a need to complete yourself, but come naturally from a place of wholeness. In this way, the endless cycle of action and reaction can be transcended. The problem isn't the actions themselves, but the motivation behind them. If you act because you think it will bring you peace or fulfillment, you are bound to be disappointed because the peace will only be temporary. Once the action is complete, a new desire arises, and the process begins again. The only way to break this cycle is to recognize that you are already complete and that there is nothing more you need to do or achieve to find peace. This realization doesn't mean you stop functioning in the world. You will still take action, but the difference is that your actions will no longer be driven by a sense of lack. You won't be chasing after something, hoping it will make you feel whole. Instead, you will act from a place of completeness, and this changes everything. The struggle ends not because you've achieved some external goal, but because you've understood the truth of who you are. When the mind stops chasing, when it sees that there is nothing to chase, peace arises naturally. This is the essence of what we are discussing. It's not about learning new techniques or following a specific path to enlightenment. It's about seeing the truth that is already here. You don't need to become something else. You don't need to reach a distant goal. You are already where you need to be. The restlessness that drives the mind is based on a misunderstanding, and when that misunderstanding is corrected, the restlessness disappears. This is the key to ending psychological suffering and finding true peace. It doesn't require any external change, just a shift in understanding. When you realize that you are already complete, the search ends